Oh, I can.
You can resize that at home. Oh, you can erase like this. That's nice. But it's still very small.
I know. I'm gonna. You can zoom. I'll just zoom in, and I'll do that later.
Okay, so you will clean it up. Great. Now, why don't we start from the parts I haven't heard? And I would like to play the rondo theme each and every time it comes around. Just give me a second.
Do you want me to start from the beginning?
No, because I want to make sure that we cover all of it. And some of it comes back, so I will check on how certain things are going.
Yes. I also have one of those foot pedals.
Ooh. Aren't you fancy? So instead of flipping them with can you do the ones with the mouth motion when that you can change pages with that?
No, I cannot.
Well, you should have that option on.
I don't.
But it's very tricky because if you make a physiognomy while you play, you might end up turning your page inadvertently.
Yeah. Well, it's a good thing I don't have that.
Okay, now why don't you start on the first cadenza?
It'll be on the second page.
Yeah, go ahead and tune. Senza rit means,
I do not know.
It means ritardando is slowing down, and senza is without.
Without.
Yes, very important little detail.
So don't slow down.
Don't slow down. Also, what is your tempo goal for this piece?
Probably to get it to like associate.
So that is going to be also the tempo goal for your cadenza.
That's very messy, but I'll fix it later. I know what it means. So should I try to speed it up?
Let's try the cadenza one more time. And don't take so many emergency rubatos.
Yeah.
Do you know how I know that the emergency and not necessarily artistic?
Because I start them after the.
Well, because you slow down only when it gets difficult. So that's the definition of emergency rubato. Let's make sure that we can do a better job of that. Not ease into, just go straight into the rondo thing. So what is the tempo for here? Is that your tempo for the piece? Okay, so that's the tempo for the cadenza.
Okay.
Right. Yeah, and on the last one, diminuendo, and just without too much ado, go straight into this. So can you just take it from there? Making the diminuendo. but you're slowing down. Just so, play a little bit more on the string. But why are you playing subito piano? You're trying to do a big deal at the arrival. Don't. It's just try to. Do you feel that you're losing control of the bow stroke when you get into the piano? Can you not lose that control? Don't stop, just so your bow rhythm, yes, exactly. That's what you need to be doing here. Now, can you just keep it very straight? I know you want to be musical and go. Actually, I'm not sure if you want to be musical or if you're tripping on the technical issue there. It's just even. Exactly. And again, with a little bit more control in the bow. Exactly. And now. So, control with the down bows and the beats. Let's see if we can add what we were missing. So don't slow down at all. So even. Yes, and still you're really trying to re-articulate the return of this. Look, sometimes we need to show the beginnings of this kind. In this case, it's going to be so much more effective if you just go straight into it without giving any signs that anything special is just just like that. I gave you 2 bars of just. Okay, part of the problem is you don't know the notes with their fingerings. So let's go slowly through this and understand it's a diminished 7th chord. That's why we're doing 3, 1, 4, 2, right? So can you play it slowly with understanding of the fingerings? Right. Now, which finger is out of tune? No, that one was fine. That one. Sometimes it's a little bit too high. Keep the evenness now, but add the diminuendos and the crescendos. So evenness in the rhythm. Why are you so tempted to make a secondary crescendo right here?
Probably because it looks like it's like big right there. So it's like
just consider all of this going down.
Okay.
Okay.
So it's bigger.
So it's just one large gesture instead of two small ones because it gets very busy and a little bit seasick.
Oh.
just like that, exactly. Now, can we speed up all of that and we will put it in context from before? Yes. Exactly. And now, what was our tempo? Now, here, this is the only place where I would recommend you take extra time. At the top of the phrase, and so it will be kind of spread over a couple of beats. And you will justify the extra time by spending more bow on those notes. Now this is one long crescendo instead of those tiny little shapes. Okay, now let's play together because I think we're still struggling with the timing here. So we start on piano, right? Yes, and starting from here, we will be doing the little shapes. You get it?
Okay. I wrote in my own dynamics, so that's why I was doing them because it sort of sounded like that.
Yeah, okay, you might be doing here, but the problem is that here, instead of going for the big crescendo to the top of the phrase, you're doing those little things, and they just they're kind of pretty, but I think you can serve the line better if you go with Bob Chrysler.
Oh.
So do you want me to play with you one more time, or you got it? Okay. Don't slow down. Yes. And you know what, Ella? Do you connect the crescendo with the idea of using more bow? I think you can do a better job on that, especially when you have the long crescendo. So. So do you see how it gradually expands into, and then it makes so much more sense to take that extra time with more melodious bow at the top. Right. Okay, now when we do the hairpin, would you consider not doing this? So basically, when we have hairpins here, you want to delay the crescendo until the very end here, and then you don't want to start the diminuendo immediately. You kind of want to sit in higher dynamics for about those first four notes.
So I sort of crescendo and then stay.
Yes, because otherwise it just really sounds, oh, she's such a good student and she's doing something that the music says, but it makes absolutely no oral sense. Can you make it in a way that pleases aesthetically you and everybody who is listening to you? So let's start yes, from there. You're not ready, and how do you like the bow stroke like that?
I don't know, it's sort of like in between spiccato and mezzotia. It's like,
well, it should be between spiccato and socia, but it needs to sound good, and right now it sounds like there is no control. It's uneven, the tone is not good. I can't really tell what you're trying to do. It's almost like you're trying to imitate the motion that somebody has shown you, but you're not listening to what is coming out. So can you get a little bit more? You have to listen, because what we do translates into sound. If we want just to go with the motion, we should be doing ballet or sports. So let's be musicians. tummy here because as it goes down, if you help with the diminuendo, it just disappears. So this whole thing has to be strong. So just very happy, very bubbly, and boisterous throughout.
Okay.
Yeah. Right in the forte?
Do you want me to do it?
What do you mean?
Like bounce, come off the string.
Oh yeah, you have to come off the string. How else can you play it?
Yeah.
Is that an option? I don't think so.
No.
Well, technically, yeah, you could do that, but it doesn't sound right. And now, I thought your question would be, do you have to make circles or do you travel?
Well,
that was the
also.
first thing that, yeah. So what do you think?
Probably circle.
Well, it depends on where on the bow you end up starting them. Because if you're higher on the bow, you'll have to travel to get there. If you're low on the bow, the only way you can do that is going to be with the circles.
Okay.
So you have to decide for yourself.
Okay.
Can we do again? Yeah, that was good. I wasn't too crazy about the way we played the 16ths, though. Because again, it was you going through the motions instead of you listening to what actually comes out. Can you listen to what you're producing? A+.
Yeah.
And all you had to do is just listen to what you're doing. You know the motions. You know how to play the violin.
Mm.
The thing that will make a difference for you is wanting to hear certain things coming out instead of just moving. Can we do that one more time and go on?
From the.
So from the forte. No, from the forte, and then you will have to do the same thing in piano. So then ask yourself what you want to hear.
Oh.
So you need to have better control landing your bow. And it won't be a very long bow, so it will be also somewhere in the lower half of the bow, but it has to be in piano, so you have to be very light. So can you try all of these things and make them sound good?
Yes. Do I start from the forte again?
Let's do the piano bit. So don't try to make a humongous crescendo in this. So just the very fact that you're in the lower half of the bow and thinking with a little bit direction toward the downbeat is going to give you the amount of hairpin that you need.
Okay.
Are you squeezing the bow too much?
I
Just,
think
it
so. I
feels
also
that
have
you're
to-
holding the bow in forte. So just relax all of this, let the bow do it. That's all. Looking at your hand, it feels that you're pushing too far down with your third finger. So just relax all of this and let the knuckles come a little bit higher. So in other words, don't force your fingers to be like direct extension of your hand, like this. You can just let the bow, yes, hang from your fingertips like that, yes. And now give a little bit motion from the hand. And the thumb also has to participate in this. So what is our rhythm? Is that right? Also. So can you try all of that with just a really light, feather light touch? So those are. Now, again, can you listen to what's coming out of your violin? I also have the feeling that your bow is way too tight. You always tighten it that much. Okay, if that's normal for you, then keep it.
I don't like how it just does that. I like when I try to play with the tone.
Yeah, but okay, good.
Not like
Now for this one though, you will need to tilt the bow and play just on the side of the hair. And do the right number of notes. No? No. So this is your first beat. Ella, let's do them by beats. So only one note on the A string, the other three, yes. Now 3 on the E and 1 on the A. And then right. There's hesitation. Side. So can I have your bow for a second here? Now, look, you want to, can you look at my hand? So instead of being locked down with this normal, you need to, do you see what the thumb is doing?
Mm-hmm.
Can you see clearly? So it's not your normal 4th in the string playing, it's a different, so. On the side, the hair has to be on the side, yes. Yeah, and don't lock it from here, so that the index finger has to allow the bow to. No. The last thing you want is yes. So no, your hand always has to be higher, higher than your elbow for this, because otherwise. That's so. Yes. Right, that looks the whole better. Now add a little bit of that whip to get the bow slightly to the next. Exactly. Now add the left hand to that. Yes, that's your bow stroke for the piano. Now, can we contrast that with the forte? Because you have to switch the physicality back and forth in order to be able to get clean results in both. Raise the hand. Yes. Okay, so you need to work on that. Now, let's go on. Going on. But that was so not you. That was so not the musical Ella I want to hear. So can we start with the più tranquillo? What does that mean, più tranquillo? Tranquillo? Does that remind you of word in English?
Tranquil.
Tranquil, yes. So it needs to be calm, right? And pew,
A little bit. More.
more tranquil. So actually, the step before that, it wasn't exactly tranquil, but it just means that you need to just calm down a little bit and go more into a lyrical mode for this. So the tempo and the character needs to change from this. So can we find the character first? The character comes together with the tempo. So yes. Okay, now Ella, what is your dynamic? Now, do you mind doing that? And I also would like to recommend that you don't slide in between the phrases.
Okay. So it's like da 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 da.
You were doing some slides that didn't sound very Mozartian. So. So it was, I'm exaggerating. So do not show those. Just enjoy the differences in the register because of the different strings. Now, this one, you can vocalize this one. But up to that point, you need to play clean. Mezzo forte, please. You need to be deeper into the string. Oh, that. Ella, I'm hearing how you're playing strong when you drop a finger with the bow, which is bass backwards. So the emphasis is on the. It's the just not that. Can you start right there? It's on an up bow. Yes. Yes. Yes, and you need to control your bow better. The frog on those two separate notes, and then be ready. Okay, could we possibly play that in a more rhythmically disciplined way? Let's do the whole phrase one more time from the Più Tranquillo. Now, when we talk about classical phrasing, what are the numbers I usually say? How long is a classical phrase usually? How many measures?
18 to 4.
Okay, so that would be like a phrase. But what if we talk about like classical periods? It's usually 8 or 16 measures. So in other words, you've got groups of eight measures. 4 plus 4. So 4 would be the antecedent, then the other 4 would be the consequent. Now, very often in classical music, though, you get 2 plus 2 plus 4. So you get one shorter version. So here, you see, we got. So this is the two, right? We cannot argue that it makes sense to just. This is not a phrase, right? So this is the first musical thought. Then the second thought is. And they're kind of related because they rhyme, right? Now, what happens the second time around? So do you see that? This is actually a much longer thought. It's 4 bars long. Because if we drop it, if we divide it down into 2 plus 2 as well, just kind of sounds dumb musically, doesn't it? Now, can we make this as beautiful and sophisticated as it can be using this simple formula? 2 plus 2 plus 4. Go for it. Yes, that makes sense. And now, the 2 plus 2 also need a little bit more TLC. Which is the strong part of that phrase? Do we have an appoggiatura? Somewhere?
It's on the F sharp.
So it makes sense to have this little shape within this. Now we don't want to go. We don't want to lose the downbeat of the first bar, but that appoggiatura definitely is some sort of a beacon in the midst of it. So. And again, it finishes with the appoggiatura gesture, the 4. Yeah. So give it a try. Let's see how that sounds to us musically. Okay. I like a lot of it, except for the emergency rubato that is happening. Can we get the triplets?
Are you saying rubato or rubato?
Rubato.
I don't know.
Rubato? Oh, you don't know that word? So rubato is when you take rhythmic liberties. Well, they're not arbitrary rhythmic liberties, but like if you slow down or speed up in order to make things more expressive. Now, rubato has to have its logic. It's we should never do arbitrary things in music. Rubato is the much more extreme version of a gogic. Now, if you play with a gogic, it means that you inflect things within a beat. So your tempo stays very steady, but inside the beat you can do like when you do the appoggiatura, when you take a little bit extra time just, but you don't necessarily lengthen the time of the entire beat. Now, this is agogic. It's spelled Agogic. Agogic. And playing with good agogic is a sign of very sophisticated, good musical thinking. A great deal of skill goes with that. Now, rubato is the extreme version of that. That's when you start messing with the lengths of the beats. That's what we don't want. Okay? In classical music, there is very little rubato. In romantic music, you will encounter much more rubato. In contemporary music, depending on the particular style that you're playing, but in classical things, try to keep them very streamlined. Okay? That is so much better. Yes, and I would say save a little bit of your dynamics for the second time around because you have to repeat these 16 measures one more time.
I'm trying to fix it because I could not read through.
Now, Ella, would you please try something? Is it possible on the legato notes for your bow to be deeper in the string?
Mhm.
You need more contact, especially when you start the same thing on an up bow. Just so more contact and more legato. Too much rubato. Too much rubato. Yeah, so that's the culprit. It's the slide that you're doing from that really doesn't sound good. So you need to do it clean. It might mean slightly raising your bow. You just need to silence your bow for that. One more time. We're missing the first note. Just the one that you have to start closest to the tip, the farthest from you. And instead you're doing this huge crescendo because we're missing the contact and the presence on that first note. Even Ella, more even on the triplet. Tripala, 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 tripala. Clean, tripala. Tripala, tripala. Tripala. Right. So when you think the subdivision before you have to play it, you have a greater chance of doing it right. Now, let's do the same thing for the second time. When we repeat things in music, we never do them exactly identical as the first time. So what do you want to do? You can do less, you can do more. You can mess a little bit with more expression inside the phrases. What do you want to do?
Maybe do a little bit less because the next session is going to be forte.
Okay, so let's drop down to mezzo piano then. So don't do it just with volume. See if you can change the character of your sound by your bow usage, by what you do with your vibrato. I love that. Same tempo. And it's tempo primo, so we need to come back to our strong, assertive presence because we have just used up our island of tranquility with those couple of lines. So back in tempo, please. Oh, it needs to be in tempo. And just by the way, it's in unison with the piano there. So. Now, do you see, Ella? How do you interpret those two note marks over the notes?
Sort of more space. I like
Yeah, you're playing them you're singing them exactly right. The dashes above, they mean you have to give full value with sound to each one of those notes. So they're not short, they're not with dots like the ones that are coming up. So you have to play them with a really beautiful détaché, but just détaché has nothing to do with the actual rhythm. They're still triplets. So your rhythm has to stay détaché. Your rhythm has to stay steady, and then the lengths of the notes have to be filled with détaché, highest quality détaché sound.
So.
And why suddenly piano on this, guys? This whole thing is still 40, right? So now if you're playing your détaché around the middle of the bow or upper half, those they're going to end up being high on the bow and a little bit more on the string. So don't try to lift your bow. Just the bow needs to silence itself for a little bit. Then
should I end the last F sharp of the a little early so I can retake?
You cannot change the rhythm on that. Or do you mean to play it short? Is that what your question is?
Yes.
Well, the thing is that the pianist also will need to switch gears at that spot. So, in this case, the physicality on both instruments is very similar. So you can take a little bit of time to place yourself in the correct part of the bow. So let's start one more time on tempo primo. Yeah, and then switch gears. And do you remember yes, that's your bow stroke. Your left hand is still not going with the bow. So the lifts of the fingers, remember, they have to be coordinated. Cliches that I hear students who have a fraction of the technique that you got, they do. Why? Can you play with much more beauty and not screech on that top note? So you want to stay closer to the string. And these guys, do you see that? I don't try to play them spiccato. They're still short, but they're with a fast and light bow. For the puggiatura, because I need more bow, well, it's a long note, and so I slow the bow down by bringing it closer to the bridge. Then again, these are kind of brush. And then we do our détaché with the expansion here. Could we try all of these things? A little bit longer on those eighth notes. So, but just with very light, brushy bow. And then try not to get caught too far up on the bow, because it's very difficult to do the retake. So that's a better bow division. So do you see what I'm doing? So I travel partially in the air, and then try to cue myself to a place where I can do the sortie without too much of a retake. Do it slowly. Let's do it with the right bow division. So look at what I'm doing and just copy me. Slowly. Now brush to the frog, and now But start the frog here. And then from here, brush to the frog. And this is a place where you can broaden a little bit if you want. Now, can you try that on your own? Yes, and let's do it without the emergency rubato. There has to be some rubato, but not of the emergency kind. It started soon earlier than that. You didn't. Oh, am I going to hit the right note? So, aha. Yeah. Now, can we go just closer to tempo? Our fingers are tripping a little bit. So it's again a question of the lifts. It's too heavy on that long up bow. So really light on the up bow. Light. It just sounds very discoordinated. Can they pop cleaner? So you need to clean that up. Right. So if you're squeezing from the left hand, it will sound slidey. They just have to be really brilliant and popping. How do you like this? Needs to be better. So, are you pressing too much down with your first finger? Is that what is going on? Yeah, listen to yourself. Don't just go through the motions. Yeah, and this place here, it's a little bit like in the Brahms. In the Brahms Violin Concerto, when you have just grand détaché going on, so it just has to develop into grand détaché, getting into the last end of it. So you need to broaden the bow. It just needs to stay very clean on these groups of notes. Yes, that's a whole lot better. Now let's go on. What is our dynamic? Only mezzo forte, not piano, so it's still strong. Now, do you mind not stopping your bow? It again needs to be a longer phrase. And now let's try to figure out what the phrase is. So basically, I would say think of it as 4-bar phrase. Then the next phrase is also kind of a 4-bar phrase, except that we have an elision here on the last bar. It's 3+, because the end of just elides into the beginning of the next phrase. So can we do one more time from here, thinking longer lines? Okay, I hear your bow struggle, which is We got 1/3 of the time on the down bow, 2/3 of the time on the up bow. So yes, something about our bow speed has to help us with this. So don't wait after you've spent your down bow. Whoa. Really? Is that the so this is a quintessential size, so always it's always going to be more or less, even when they're within crescendo context, then you just do the next one louder, but it's the gesture itself is always more or less. That's what we need to hear. Are they slurred? So you have to finish, right? The B is the end of the previous phrase. So poco lift. So really very melodramatic on the top one. A general thing about your technique. Do you think you should be slapping those onto the string from the air, or do you think you need to place your bow on the string and then play? Right, it needs to happen. And now, when you place your bow, you will be able to gauge also the amount of pressure for the first note that you play. And if you know the amount of pressure on the first note, then you can figure out the amount of pressure needed for the second note. Now, how much pressure on the second note compared to the first note? Just about, yeah. What about the length of that note? Shorter than what you've been doing. Yes. So you know all of these answers. Can you put all of this into practice? Now, if you know the answers, how come you weren't doing those things? Is it too fast and you can't manage that fast, or you just knew the answers but you didn't apply them? Oh, okay. So let's try the same tempo and see how you manage. From the string. Less and less. Yes. So do you see that? So yes, and then we need to come down. So we have just arch, which happens a lot. Okay. I just want to hear you getting into the next cadenza because we have to stop. Your mom is picking up. Well, we should have been stopped already. Oh. So let's just play the next. How many bars? It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Ooh, that's a very strange length for classical music. So okay, let's start on that. Okay, now let's talk about these 7 measures. Is there anywhere a reset?
No.
Dynamic reset. So don't do one.
Yeah,
Okay, you were already thinking about this. So let's fix the direction and the shaping. Okay, now Ella, when I have things like this to play, there are 2 things that go to my head. Number 1 is that I must use the first note of each bow as a springboard note for the rest of the bow. And that usually implies vibrato. It also implies a gorgic on that first note. It needs to be slightly longer than just the mere 16th note. And then the other 3/16ths that follow it, they need to squish a little bit. So they will be exactly 1 beat long for that. So that's the one thing that goes through my head. The second thing that goes through my head is that I have to sustain my bow during the rest of the notes. So I can create the illusion of that crescendo.
Okay.
So in other words, I end up with so I can do something like this without the scratch, of course. Look, I need more hair. I'm 1/3 down, so yeah, I'm scratching. Vibrato. Okay, let's try that one more time. And I love how dramatic that crescendo was. You need to start less. Yes, less bow as well. Right. Now, don't scooch so much So if that second beat is properly distributed with really nice 4 equal 16ths in it, you won't have to put that hole before you play the accented note. We don't want any holes. We want this phrase to be just like fireworks, like cascade. Stopping too much. Don't stop between the bows. Yes. Now, what do we have here? Just poco a largo. What does it mean?
A little faster.
Alarg is it's abbreviation of what? Allargando, and allargando is what? Don't confuse it with accelerando. Allargando, large, allargando. So enlarging. So a little bit expanding and a little bit slowing down here. So you have to do it with much more conviction. Yes, and then you've got your cadenza. Okay, you need to get to your sister.
Yeah.
So, Ella, do you think that you yourself are capable of thinking along those terms as you tackle the rest of the piece?
Yes.
Because these are very simple principles, they're very practical, and they always work. And this is what good musicians do. And I want you to be the best musician you can.
So mostly think of like the bow and how it correlates with the fingers.
Well, yeah, that's called coordination, yes. But also you have to think how you want to shape the phrases. And in order to know the shape, first of all, you have to know how long the phrases are.
Yeah.
And once you figure that out, then the music kind of plays itself.
Mm-hmm.
So you want to get to that point where the music plays itself.
I will try. I'm gonna figure out the last page because the last page is the one I'm having the newest version of.
Okay. Are you practicing it in slow motion?
Yes.
Good.
Oh, I said that nice.
Sorry.
Oh,
You
that's
know,
fine.
it's, yeah.
I don't really care. Okay. Okay. Well, thank you.
You're welcome, Ella.